Good morning. It is the morning buzz here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. It's a beautiful Monday, actually, one that I didn't really see coming. It's like 72 degrees right now. Really strange. Really a lot cooler than the weather we've been seeing this summer. And after that heat wave, it actually feels more fall than summer today. Am I bugging or, you know, let's see here.
How's everyone?
Well, honestly, the technical difficulties just seem to grow, don't they, Olive? Also, I muted you, babes, so make sure you unmute yourself.
Oh, here we are.
There we go.
Okay. I got two different angles going because I was having some computer issues here in the studio this morning, but that's pretty much on par for the course for Monday. Am I right? Or am I right? I mean, please, it wouldn't quite be Monday if I didn't have a little issue. But good morning to my beautiful hosts. My name is Olive. Welcome to the Morning Buzz. I'm joined by Larry Zaccardi, our amazing producer, and all the way from Puerto Rico, Victor Muñiz Rosa.
Woo! How you guys doing? I made it. I woke up just now, but I made it. I made it. It was a long night, and I totally forgot the show. I'm gonna be honest.
Well,
And,
welcome to the day. Let's get to the newscast.
Let's
At
go.
least he's honest, am I right?
Right.
Mhm.
Of course. So we're going to start off with some national news. 3 people were injured yesterday evening in a shooting outside Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois, sparking a massive law enforcement presence in a chaotic scene at the amusement park.
Mm.
A spokesperson for Six Flags Great America said 3 people were injured when shots were fired from a single vehicle in the parking lot. The vehicle immediately drove away from the scene following the shooting. For New Jersey news, 2 adults and 3 juveniles broke in and crashed a former Lyndhurst school, then surrendered after police surrounded the building and threatened to send a dog in after them. They climbed in through an unsecured window of the old Lincoln School on Ridge Road around midnight yesterday. One member of the group, a 17-year-old boy, is from Lyndhurst, and the rest are from Passaic County. For Montclair news, Montclair eating and drinking establishments will be able to offer outdoor service for at least 2 more years under state legislation signed by the governor this month. Initially, the permissions, established because of COVID-19, were set to expire this year on November 3rd, but the new expiration date is November 3rd of 2024. I'm not in Montclair State, but I'm sure it's beautiful. Right now it is 65 degrees and sunny. Today we have a high of 84 and a low of 60, and we have some cloudy skies starting at 11, but it's always important to stay hydrated. PSA, always stay hydrated, even though it's not that hot out. It's just very important.
Right. This is not the same sun that we were dealing with even 5 years ago, people. The hydration is evaporating clean off my skin these days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, it's insane. Well, let's move on to sports. I don't even listen. This is my only sports update. Let's make it good.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know sports that well, but I do try my best. Sports.
You're doing well.
You always do great.
Oh, thank you guys. You guys are the best. So yesterday, the Yankees played the Boston Red Sox. They lost 0-3. It's a tough day to be a Yankee fan.
Yeah, I just need to let that sink in for a sec.
I can't. This leaves the Yankees standing 72-43, and they were doing so well. I don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
Also yesterday, the Mets played the Philadelphia Phillies, and they won 6-0. And excuse my dog. And this leaves the Mets standing with 75-40.
Is your dog a Mets fan?
No, he is not. He is very much in a Yankees household. I don't know why he's barking.
He's like, finally, I can be honest about my opinion.
But the Mets are in the lead right now with 3 wins. So we're gonna see what happens. That's all I'm gonna say. But the Yankees are playing the Tampa Bay Rays tonight at 7:05, and the Mets are playing the Atlanta Braves at 7:20.
Yes.
Okay, it's a night.
It's an evening, let me tell you that.
Right.
Mhm.
And it is quite a morning as well because we are still reporting COVID news. Okay. Guys, we're not completely out of the woods yet. As you can see, the mandate for eating outside has been extended. There's a lot going on.
Let's
CDC
go.
drops quarantine screening recommendations for COVID-19. Folks, on Thursday, the nation's top health public agency relaxes COVID-19 guidelines, dropping the recommendation that Americans quarantine themselves if they come into close contact with an infected person. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also said people no longer need to stay at least 6 feet away from others. I beg to differ. I'm going to still need my 6 to 10 feet. But anyway, the changes, which come more than 2.5 years after the start of the pandemic, are driven by a recognition that an estimated 95% of Americans 16 and older have acquired some level of immunity, either from being vaccinated or infected. The CDC's Greta Massetti, an author of the guidelines, said, quote, the current conditions of this pandemic are very different from those of the last 2 years. The CDC recommends, the CDC recommendations apply to everyone in the US, but the changes could be particularly important for schools, which resume classes this month in many parts of the country. Some kids have even started school like already. Perhaps the biggest education-related change is the end of the recommendation that schools do routine daily testing, although that practice can be reinstated in certain situations during a surge in infections. The CDC also dropped a, quote, test to stay recommendation, which said students exposed to COVID-19 could regularly test instead of quarantining at home to keep attending school. With no quarantine recommendation anymore, the testing option disappeared as well. Okay. How do y'all feel about this? Just a quick one before we move on, because yeah, I don't know. I guess we have evolved to this stage, but I think I'll keep with the 6 feet, to be honest.
Yeah, I like my
Yeah,
little bubble.
Yeah, I
yeah, I
still need
like.
it.
Yeah, I see that everybody is, we're not wearing masks and everything, but I still keep my distance. I'm like, I don't know this person. 6 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet.
And honestly, it's so funny because I saw a meme that was like, it was like Latinos. It was like it was about Latinos, which I found really funny because I directly related to this during the pandemic. But it was like Latinos consider social distancing hanging out with only people they know. And I was like, when I read it, that's when I realized how ridiculous
Yeah,
we can be sometimes. I'm like, well, I'm gonna see my auntie for regardless, like, or whatever the
yeah,
case was. But anyway, happy to hear at least on that front that we're moving through it. I mean, I think taking up these boundaries is one thing. I think people having the sense to still exercise it on some part is another. And I hope that people do stay that. And there's not really another way to segue into the next story because I'm like, okay, we're letting our guard down, but why?
yeah. This story is like very strange. So I'm just gonna read it. Polio detected in New York City wastewater. On Friday, health officials found polio virus in New York City wastewater. The city's Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. According to NBC News, that means polio is likely circulating undetected in the city. The virus was previously detected in wastewater samples from Orange County and Rockland County north of the city in May, June, and July. One case of paralytic polio was identified in Rockland County last month in an unvaccinated adult. New York City Health Commissioner Dr. Ashwin Vasan said in a statement, quote, the risk to the New Yorkers is real, but the defense is so simple. Get vaccinated against polio. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention recommends children get 4 doses of the polio vaccine, the first at 2 months old, the second at 4 months old, the third at 6 through 18 months, and the last between 4 and 6 years old. Most people get those shots as part of their routine childhood immunization. In New York City, around 86% of children ages 6 months to 5 years old have received the first 3 doses. Statewide, 79% of New Yorkers have received 3 doses by age 2. But polio vaccination rates are far lower in Orange and Rockland counties, at around 60% among children under 2 years old. The New York City Health Department said that most adults who were vaccinated as children do not need any additional shots. But vaccinated adults who are increased risk of exposure to the virus are eligible for a booster. Unvaccinated people above age 4 should receive 3 doses instead of 4. Those who are partially vaccinated should get the remaining doses no matter how much time has elapsed since the initial shot. According to CDC, polio is highly infectious, but around 72% of people infected have no visible symptoms. So I didn't know polio was a thing still. Like, wow.
Well, there's a lot of things coming back from the past. First of all, we overturned Roe v. Wade. That's number one. Then polio is making a comeback. There's I mean, I just wanted it to keep going, but then I just, my brain just can't handle it. So I hate to hear this. And folks, all I can say is what everyone's been saying: get vaccinated, take care of yourself. These older medical conditions, I mean, please, your doctors spent good time trying to figure this stuff out so that we could live better. Honor them by honoring yourself and taking care of yourself. I mean, not that I can really tell you to do that, but I just think, do what you feel is right for you and the public. And yeah, that's really all it. Maybe a little break.
Let's go. Get vaccinated, please.
Get vaxxed, y'all.
New Jersey Education Association's educational support
a- it's a beautiful Monday. Honestly, it's a lot cooler here where I guess the epicenter of the morning buzz here on the Montclair State campus. It's topping out at like 73 degrees, which is a cool,
yeah,
like a
Ready for
25 degrees cooler than
Ready
it's
for
been
some-
lately.
Ready for some pumpkin spice.
I was literally going to
Mm.
say that last commercial really reminded me, like, not that I needed the commercial to remind me, but it really just dawned on me. The school is weeks away. Weeks. I mean,
yeah,
Victor's going to be landing here any day now.
the 26th I'll be there. So
That's
I don't
kind of
know.
early.
It is early. They want me to do some orientation since I'm technically a new student. So, I gotta get those orientations and
Oh my gosh. I haven't been to one orientation. Like I
since
think
you,
since high school. Yeah, like freshman year, like the summer
Yeah.
before freshman year,
yeah,
which
but
was a lot of fun.
We gotta do it. We gotta do it. So I'm gonna
so
be there
excited for
early.
you. Yes,
Yes.
we're gonna have to have a lunch somewhere. Maybe we should have lunch on campus at Sam's place, since they just inducted him into the Hall of Fame, and we spoke about that fairly recently.
Yes, love
Right?
that idea. Love that idea. So we do
Yeah.
it. Laura, you're invited.
She knows. She's got to know.
Hee think.
And speaking of, well, we did mention the pumpkin spice, which, am I crazy, or they're gonna do it earlier this year? I heard something about that. They
I sure
meaning
hope they do.
the Pumpkin Spice Authority. I really don't know. But on the subject, Montclair's Church Street Starbucks votes in favor of union. Oh, snap. According to Montclair Local, employees of Montclair's, specifically Church Street Starbucks, located at 40 South Park Street, voted this week to join Starbucks Workers United. Celeste Cruz, a shift manager at the store and observer for the union, said, "I'm very happy with the outcome. A unanimous vote for the union. All we want is to be true partners with Starbucks and have a seat at the table. Now that we have crossed this first hurdle and have a union, it's time to negotiate a fair contract." In early July, a letter written by members of the store's organizing committee was sent to Starbucks chief executive Howard Schultz, contending that operations were plagued by understaffing, poorly working equipment, and improper training. They said the company has been hostile towards their union organizing. Members of the community in Montclair voiced support for the workers as they advocated for better wages and working conditions, as well as more stable scheduling. The downtown Montclair Starbucks became the fourth in the state to vote to unionize, following stores in Hamilton, Hopewell, and Summit, which were the first to join the union this spring. James Cruz, a 24-year-old Starbucks barista and member of the team's organizing committee, announced the news on August 10th at a private Zoom meeting with the company and the Church Street Starbucks. Although the news feels like a positive step for the team, Cruz said the issues initially sparked their desire to unionize. Cruz said the issues initially sparking their desire to unionize have only worsened in recent weeks, particularly with work scheduling due to understaffing. Students who work at the Church Street store have had difficulty getting schedule changes to accommodate their classes. And that's the tea and coffee and crimpet and biscuit and Danish, because I'm not going to lie. Every time I've been to Starbucks, first of all, the wait is like, don't get Starbucks on your way to anywhere because you will be late. Okay. You will absolutely be late. To the point where a friend of mine actually told me the trick is to order on the app 30 minutes before. I said, but 30 minutes before, your coffee's got to be like not hot. I drink hot coffee in the summer, so for me, that's not going to work. But I sincerely, my heart goes out to these people because, unionizing just on a basal level is not easy at all. Like, it's like herding cats. Anything where you have to get more than 5 people together, it's hard to even get your friends together for like a day trip, right? Imagine trying to get people that may or may not be satisfied with their work life, because to some people, it's just a job, but they are not getting paid enough in a lot of the cases. And some people just want to get in and out. Others want to stand with you. It's a lot. And then having people, trying to get enough people on your side, which it's sad that the betterment of people has to be a side. Like, why is that even a side of anything? But yeah.
I find it interesting that now they're unionizing. Like, it's insane. And it's also happening, like Amazon, it happened recently, or is happening, if I'm not mistaken, because of all the things that they've been going through. I'm not really sure. So, I gotta check that out.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. It was relatively recently. But here's my thing, Victor. When it comes to Amazon, maybe y'all definitely don't remember, but Amazon started as a place where you could buy books. That it was actually a relatively pure mission. You could get books. There was like the Kindle era. Come on, like the e-readers. So all to say that Amazon has gone through a lot. I mean, an insane evolution if you really think about where it is right now. So I can understand Amazon unionizing fairly recently. However, Starbucks has been coffee forever. And so although, it's news that they're unionizing, my brain understands that. But somewhere in the back of my mind, it's almost crazy that they already are not there's no union associated with Starbucks yet. I will say, though, at one point in time, Starbucks was a really good job to have. You know what I mean? But I think with inflation and the ever growing cost of living, especially in New Jersey and particularly in Montclair, let's be real, it gets harder to live. It gets
Yeah.
harder to live, and some benefits, let's be real, are just basic human rights, like healthcare. If you work for somebody, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, I feel like, why are we even arguing about healthcare?
Yeah, if you're a full-time
Like,
employee, like that's the minimum. Yeah, if you're a
but I
full-time
think
employee, that's the
part-time
minimum.
too. I think
Mhm.
part-time. Can you throw me a teeth cleaning for
Yeah,
part-time?
please.
Like, come on, man. Like, seriously. But it's I try to reserve my outrage for whatever the government is up to. I said yesterday on my show, let's get into this music mix, because between monkeypox and where in the world is Nancy Pelosi, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm gonna reserve my outrage for like that. But I feel like I want to focus on the good that comes out of people sticking with something long enough to watch it work out, which is
Yeah.
what any union is historically.
Mhm.
It's literally just having
Exactly.
the gut and the gall to hang in there while things kind of fall apart, because some people they do the walkouts, they're out there with their sign and they get nothing, man. And now
Mhm.
they're out of a job because
Exactly.
but anyhow, on to our next story, because clearly we're gonna have to figure out life on other planets if we're gonna keep going
Oh,
on this
wow.
way. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
hit us
Apparently,
with it.
that's the way. Like since sci-fi ever existed, they were always saying, maybe we'll go to another planet. So NASA is launching its new mega rocket to shoot a spaceship around the moon this month. Here's what to expect. NASA is finally set to launch its new mega rocket shooting an Orion spaceship designed for astronauts around the moon at the end of this month. In a bid to return astronauts to the new lunar surface for the first time since 1972, NASA has spent 17 years and an estimated 50 billion developing the space launch system and its Orion spaceship. The brand new launch system rocket stands taller than the Statue of Liberty at 23 stories, with a spaceship secured up top. 4 car-sized engines and 2 rocket boosters should give it enough thrust to push Orion all the way around the moon, farther than any spacecraft built for humans has ever flown. That's where NASA's first SLS mission, called the Artemis I, is taking it. When it launches as soon as August 29, the SLS rocket should deliver the Orion spaceship on a trajectory to circle the moon and return to Earth. There are no people on board since the rocket has never flown before. But if the spaceship successfully completes its mission, NASA plans to put astronauts in the Orion module for another trip around the moon, then land them on its surface using SpaceX Starships in 2025. This is very interesting. We're going back to the moon, baby.
Baby, take me to the moon. Fly me to the moon. Let me lay among the stars, right? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know
Like Frank.
I really need to get some Frank Sinatra in my repertoire. Like,
Frank
I'm
Sinatra's
from
the
Jersey,
best.
all right? I know the songs, but I
Mhm.
really want to like know them, so that I can make them my own. Because you can know the lyrics, but really understanding the lyrics and really, really knowing them, you can
Mhm.
deliver them from a different place, I really got to do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I love Frank Sinatra. I've learned that he was from New Jersey coming to Montclair because I saw the hall, Frank Sinatra's hall, and I'm like, is that the same Sinatra? And then I figured out that he's from New Jersey. So,
Okay,
and a lot of artists are from Jersey too, so that's pretty amazing.
my favorite being Danny DeVito.
Oh yeah, Danny, I love him. I'm a It's Always Sunny fan, and like him and that show is so funny.
Baptist Toboggan.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm still trying to get over Toe Knife, honestly. Like, please
No,
help.
yeah, no, yo, that's
I botched it. I botched
I
it.
botched.
I can't. Well, talk about a botch. Copy paste error results in Nevada home buyer getting 87 properties for the price of one home.
Oh my God.
Listen, God, let me look up. God, I see what you've done for others, and I only hope that you can do the same for me. A Nevada home buyer literally got more than she bargained for after ending up with an entire swath of lots in a subdivision in the west central part of the state. while buying a single family home. I'm just going to pause the story to say this. If this ever happened to me, everybody come on by. We live on a compound now. Come on through. Okay, move on in. You can take the south house. I'll take the north house. I don't want to see you but once a week when I call out the whole property for dinner. And we come and have a crawfish boil on the
Yeah,
picnic
bro.
on the picnic benches. You know, when you just throw everything out there. I want
Yes.
that. I want that.
I want to be
I
there. Yeah.
want that. I mean, you're gonna be there. Yeah.
Oh, thank
Period.
you.
Well, okay, there's 87 properties. I'm pretty sure one of those buildings can just be the WMSC quarters. Anyway,
Yeah.
the buyer was originally purchasing a single-family home in Sparks, Nevada, valued at $594,481. However, the Washoe County, Nevada assessor and Washoe County recorder's office has records, showing the buyer gained not just the property she was buying, but also 87 extra house lots and 2 additional parcels. So we're not even talking houses, people. We're talking about house lots. That is straight land,
Yeah.
more valuable than gold in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
In Toll Brothers Stonebrook development, and that's just northeast of Reno, people. As of Saturday, the properties include several home sites that have already been built on and sold. At least 64 of the lots were put under the buyer's name. The transaction was flagged by the assessor's office, which says it quickly notified the title company involved about the issue. The culprit? Apparently, all it takes is 4 keystrokes to accidentally give someone the title to properties worth millions of dollars. The Washoe County's assessor's office updates ownership information for such transactions based on the legal description provided in the recording, as opposed to the parcel number. In this case, the legal description in the transaction that was officially recorded on July 25th specifically stated that it encompasses lots 1 through 85 and common areas A and B. Flagging errors caused by incorrect legal descriptions actually happens fairly often, and that's a quote, largely due to copy and paste mistakes.
Wow.
You see, folks, there's no such thing as a shortcut.
So like, what's gonna happen now? Like, is the person gonna have the property, gonna stay with the properties, or are they gonna give it back to the government, or gonna sell to the government? Like, what is happening?
I just made a note in the I made a note in the script that just asked our lovely producer, Lara Zaccardi, the queen, can we stay updated? Because I'd actually love to. I think this would be a really fun low stake. I'm not that it's low stakes for the people involved, but I think, there's been so much, there's like emotional baggage tied with like policy and government and, legalese and all this stuff. This is kind of like a fun case we can follow that doesn't involve
Yeah.
anyone getting hurt too much, because I'm
Mhm.
sure that this person who bought the property, I would like to think they have a heart and they wouldn't just rip out homes from a bunch of people that had already bought homes. But I kind of just want to see, like, from a legal standpoint, how valid this is when someone makes a mistake. Like,
Mhm.
do they have to undo it now legally, or can they just go back and amend it? Or is it going to be a process? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I love how things are so arbitrary when we need something, but usually the people with the money, when it's, an arbitrous process, usually it goes pretty quickly for them. So I'd
Mhm.
actually just like to see, where that ends up, like that white privilege card case, like that update,
Yeah.
that was more high stakes because we're talking about people's
Mhm.
lives here, like,
Yeah.
I mean, let me not get caught up there.
Yeah.
But
I agree. Like, we gotta know, like, what kind of precedent will this establish in the nation, like stuff like that, because this is a very interesting case. I've never heard of it. It's like a movie, like, I don't know, like an Adam Sandler
yeah.
movie. Oh, I just got
Yeah.
80.
Mr.
I just
Deeds,
got
Mr.
87
Deeds too.
houses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, okay, so here's what it is. Mr. Deeds too. Mr. Deeds is the guy who owned some property that got absorbed by a poor cousin that he didn't know he had.
Mhm.
So not only is it complicated with family, but now they're coming up on a rich guy's stuff. That's what I could see the script being.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like
You
it.
know?
Sandler, are you listening? You know, Happy Madison, let's go.
Right. Yeah, right. You know, the Happy Madison opening, that was his father's voice.
Yes. Yeah, I knew that. And yeah, it was pretty
I
like
just
a
love
pretty
that.
good, yeah. Like this, like that Easter egg. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little Easter egg. Well, on to the next story, which makes me feel, I mean, the simulation is just, it's crazy right now. There's a lot of stuff going on with the Zuck. Victor,
The suck.
let
Yeah.
us know what's going on right now.
Yeah. Meta's chatbot says the company exploits people.
Can we just read that? I'm sorry. Let me run the tape back. Victor, can you just read that again for the people one more time?
Of course. Meta's chatbot says the company exploits people.
The bot itself. Okay.
Yeah. Meta's new prototype chatbot has told the BBC that Mark Zuckerberg exploits its users for money. Well, that's kind of not new news, but like now we have confirmation. Meta says the chatbot uses artificial intelligence and can chat on nearly any topic. Asked what the chatbot thought of the company's founder, and it replied, "Our country is divided, and he didn't help that at all."
Wow.
According to BBC News Technology, according to NBC News Technology, Meta said the chatbot was a prototype and might produce rude or offensive answers. A Meta spokesperson said, and quote, "Everyone who uses Blenderbot is required to acknowledge they understand is for research and entertainment purposes only, that it can make untrue or offensive statements, and that they agree to not intentionally trigger the bot to make offensive statements." The chatbot, called Blenderbot 3, was released to the public on Friday. The program learns from large amounts of publicly available language data. When asked about Mark Zuckerberg, the chatbot told the BBC, and quote, "He did a terrible job at testifying before Congress. It makes me concerned about our country." Wow. Oof.
I literally don't know how to react to this.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that even your AI is saying like, "Hey, he kind of did a bad job."
Now, of course, here I come.
That you created. Yeah.
Here I come with my machinations
Mhm.
or machinations. I'm not actually sure how you pronounce that word, but okay. It's a chatbot, right? It's AI.
Mm.
So, of course, we are calling this his opinion, which I agree with. Okay. I agree with everything.
Mhm.
Not only are all the things that the chatbot said are true, but we know for a fact now that Facebook suppressed very valuable information on the negative effects of the website on people, of the platform, I should say, because it's so much more than a website at this point. But I'm wondering if the information being fed to the chatbot are all these think pieces about Zuckerberg, or if the chatbot is taking in all of the opinions about Zuckerberg and then forming its own based on some type of universal moral compass that could be programmed. You know, I know that's hard to program, but this is like the kind of sentience we're talking about, I believe, when we discuss, you know, robots and all that and them becoming conscious. So that's my only kind of musing, but I like to think that there are people out there that also write articles about how much of a visionary Zuckerberg is. So I like to think that there's a balance of the material that the AI is reviewing or being fed, but I don't know. And honestly, I love thinking that, of course, you know, as a person that studies film, I can't help but dramatize this and think that maybe the person who programmed it fed it this information so that even if they suppressed his, you know, this was his way of getting the information out, because this is kind of like a publicity stunt. Like, dude, the robot is saying this. So, you know, maybe they have him, you know, chained to his desk somewhere. in California. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think this type of things like AI are so interesting. Like recently in Google, they have Lambda, which is kind of like the same, it's like a chat, and it's more advanced, and it even has become sentient, which is like it can form like their own thoughts and talk to people and have like real conversations. And I can send you the link. Like they interviewed the AI, and it said some things that were very surprising. So yeah, it's called Lambda. Google's Lambda,
That's wild.
Lamda. So Lambda. So yeah, like AIs are becoming a really interesting thing. They're becoming popular now. Every technology company is making their own AI. We got Meta, we got Google. So it's gonna be an interesting few years, I think, for technology.
Yeah. Tech, and tech is not slowing down, folks. I mean,
Mhm.
it's changing in so many ways, and it's absorbing the natural sciences, it's absorbing the social sciences. I mean, already, right? Because we have all of
Mhm.
these tools that we use to communicate with each other. But it's never gonna, it's crazy. It's crazy. I
Yeah.
just want to take this moment though to shout out Zolabot and Smarter Child from AOL back in
Wow.
the day.
Yeah. Wow.
AOL Instant Messenger. If you had no friends, like I did not, you were talking to the computer. So I mean, I did. Tell me a joke, Zola. In any case. All
Hey,
right.
I sometimes talk to Siri, and I'm like, "Hey Siri, tell me a joke," and
Like,
she'll
what's up?
she'll do it. What's up, Siri?
You know, um, for those that have Alexa, I found out once when I was staying in an Airbnb, that had an Alexa. I don't know how exactly I found out. I don't know if I read how to like use it or I don't know what it was, but I found out that you can be like, Alexa, tell me a story, and she will. And she has a couple of stories, and as an audiophile, I love them because there's like sounds that incorporate, through the story. It's like really well told stories. And then they're short stories. They're only a few minutes long, but it's such like a little pick me up. And yeah, I mean, I still don't have one, but it made me consider getting Alexa just for that, because honestly, I don't need any more voices in my head. I can't like, I can't please enough.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Hey, I gotta check if Siri does it because I have a HomePod, which is like the Apple version of Alexa. So I gotta see if they do the same thing or not.
HomePod. I never even heard of this before.
Yeah, HomePod is
I
it's the
thought I
same thing,
just
but Apple.
I thought I well, I remember the iHome, right? So, but like
Mhm.
I thought I had just completed my Apple ecosystem because as you know, I'm in my iPad era.
Mhm.
I'm literally a grandparent at graduation. I'm always like, let me take a picture of you. Like I'm always like, and then I got myself an Apple Watch for graduation. I thought I'm done. Now there's HomePod. No, I'm sorry. No,
Yeah,
no,
no,
I can't.
it's becoming too much. Like you don't
I'm
have to
over
have
it.
everything. Yeah.
I'm over it. Well, listen, sometimes you just got to have a little treat, right?
Yes.
But how far are we going to go for treat? Because as you know, in Canada, a few weeks ago, we had the popsicle brand that partnered with not Heinz, it was French's, right? French's is Canadian. And they
Yeah.
had the ketchup freeze pops.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I remember it
Well,
clearly. Yeah.
now, what do we got, Victor? Just take it away because I can't even make this. I can't
Mm,
even make the sounds with my mouth because things are just getting more ridiculous.
Get ready. Burger King in Japan introduces the Ice Whopper with more ice on the side. The sweltering heat has prompted some desperate measures, even during meal times. And while ice cream can solve most problems, what are people who don't have a sweet tooth going to do? Chew on ice? That's like expecting vegetarians to order only salads and fries at every meal. There's a limit. As an unusual remedy, Burger King Japan has introduced the Ice Whopper, what it seemingly considers to be the perfect summer treat. It has that famous flame grilled patty because, well, summer and grills, plus a layer of shaved ice between the onions and pickles to help diners diners cool off. It is a concept that would mess with most people's minds. Some would even call it a brain freeze. Oh my God.
Goodbye. Good night. Okay, you know what? We're gonna end the show early today. No.
Oh my God. No, anyway. Lara, good one, good one. Wendy's happens to have some beef again. Oh my God. It
I
keeps going.
can't. I
Wendy's happens to have some beef against frozen burgers. The Shield AF burger is part of a limited edition summer love set that also comes with what the fast food chain calls the ice bottle, a frozen bottle of Coca-Cola. The Ice Whopper will only be served at one pop-up stall at a beach in Kanagawa Prefecture on August 19 and 20. The set will go for $749, and a reservation is required to secure one. Wow, I gotta say, the Ice Whopper. I didn't expect this.
Okay, just for like, in order for me to think that these people are not psychopathic, I'm gonna need a sign displayed at this stand that says for no to-go orders. Because that to me brings an image to my mind that makes me want to cry. A wet burger from the inside,
Yeah.
a soggy burger. But you know, I'm not gonna lie, a thin piece of ice to keep the lettuce and tomatoes and onions cold, that kind of sounds good. I
Yeah.
hate to say it. No, I'm not even joking. I literally hate
Yeah.
to say it. But it depends how thin the ice is. I'll be honest.
Mhm.
It really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, and I think like I kind of get what they're doing. Like, heat is getting hotter and hotter. So,
And I
they're
don't like
trying
hot
to,
lettuce. I don't. When it gets all limp
yeah,
and there's no
yeah,
like I need the I need that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
need that.
That crunch, like, yeah.
I guess they're
But
putting the crunch back in.
they're putting the crunch back, and yeah, it's very interesting. And I like that they're doing like, oh, we got the ice whopper with a ice cold Coca-Cola. So, they're doing the branding. Do they have ice cold fries too? Like a little
That's where I would have to
step back.
ask them to stop. Yeah. Because I can't say I haven't tried a frozen French fry before. I worked in so many restaurants and there's always fries. Like I never worked in a sushi restaurant. That's like probably the only place that I could work, if that I can imagine there not being fries.
Mhm.
But most restaurants, if kids go to eat there, there's going to be fries. There's going to be nuggets. And
Yeah.
I definitely, I see it in my mind. I don't remember when, but along the line somewhere, occasionally I would be a fry cook, things slow down. I learned how to do everything in the kitchen so that I could get things out faster. So I think somewhere along the line in my curiosity, I definitely tried one of those frozen fries and they're not good.
Yeah,
They're not
because
good.
they're just stale, and they're not
It
the same.
literally is stale because you know what? Sometimes there is frozen stuff that's good, but like in the case of fries, it's not even like blueberries. Really
Mhm.
good frozen, just like straight out the
Yeah.
bag.
Mhm.
But it doesn't give. It doesn't give. And by the way, the blueberries, you do have to eat them right away because if you don't, they become little mushy balloons of poopy. It's not good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
and
good.
I gotta be honest. Like Burger King is not at the top of my fast food list. Like Burger King, I don't know. I don't love Burger King. I rather have if I had to have like a fast food burger, I'd rather go to Wendy's, maybe McDonald's and stuff like that. Five Guys, obviously, amazing. What was the name? Oh my God, I forgot. Shake Shack, amazing.
Oh wow. I think I've had Shake Shack once or twice.
Yeah,
Shout out to Five Guys
yeah.
for my free graduation meal because before I walked at MetLife this past June, I guess it was the June date. I don't know if it was the May date or the June date for graduation, but in any case, we got some free coupon in our email for free Five Guys. So I got a whole meal
What?
and then I rolled on over. Yeah, American
Yo,
Dream. American Dream. Yeah.
I gotta be honest. That's better than the diploma right there. I'll be like, I got
Honestly,
a free coupon for
I
Five
swear
Guys.
to goodness, Victor, I insisted on going because I felt like that. I was like,
Mhm.
after this semester, Yeah, I'm gonna need a free burger, free drink, free fries, all like the whole meal.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was able to get one for my boyfriend and my best friend Lucy, who was also walking with me because she got her master's out of the natural sciences building. So
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, so pretty much, yeah. And speaking of weird diets, and you know what? I'm going to retract that statement and I'm not going to call it weird. I'm going to call it an ancient way of dieting.
Yeah.
Rejoice because people in the UK can finally eat insects again.
Oh, wow.
Don't turn the station yet, folks, okay? Because here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, we respect all choices. We do not yuck any yums, okay? I mean, I'm speaking for myself, I guess. Anybody else on the station could do what they want, but hang in there with me while I tell you that lesser mealworms and house crickets are back on the menu in the UK, several years after an accidental consequence of the country leaving the European Union meant British companies were no longer allowed to sell them. The United Nations says that the market for edible insects could be worth 6.3 billion by 2030. And 2030 doesn't even sound like a real year. Anyway,
Yeah.
and 2 billion people already eat them around the globe as part of their diet. A growing British industry was ready to help feed the nation. That was until Brexit, and the UK government said that edible bugs no longer had any laws regulating their consumption. Members of the UK's edible insects industry have now been vindicated after the government admitted it shouldn't have told them to stop selling bugs post-Brexit. Last month, the Food Standards Agency announced that it had been incorrect to have said back in August 2021 that the UK was not operating under transitional measures after leaving the European Union when it came to novel food regulations, leaving British companies incapable of getting authorization for their edible insects. When the UK finally left the EU, many existing EU rules were copied and pasted into the British law, but without the transitional measures that were there in the meantime to support businesses through this new legislation. But without it, the transitional measures, that seems to be an incomplete sentence, but forgive me. In addition to being paid to sleep, oh yeah, that's the end of the story. So let me just say one thing. We're talking about policy and the government, it's not just the mess here. When we think of things like this, making sweeping, I'm not going to sublimate Brexit into a sentence because that whole thing was so dramatic
Yeah.
and it still is. But
Mhm.
think of all the people that were left without a means to eat what they eat for pleasure, for culture, for diet, for
Mhm.
restrictions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
and that includes insects. Insects is food too.
yeah, that's why I was saying, like, I don't want to say like weird because that's such a reflexive a way to classify eating insects. That's
Mhm.
such an American reflex that I've developed. It's not
Yeah.
weird. It's literally the ancient way. And people, first of all, bugs are delicious. I'm sorry. They are. They are. Certain crickets are really yummy, fried crickets. And if you season them right, they could be really good. Only thing for me is I'm kind of like a texture weirdo. The biggest thing I can eat that's like I max out my texture range are
Mhm.
like maybe oysters or something like that because I just
Yeah.
sip them. Like I can't chew an oyster or a clam because I start getting
Yeah, they're like an acquired taste. Like you gotta ease
yeah,
into
raw
them,
ones, by
and
the way.
yeah, yeah,
Raw.
yeah,
Because clams,
yeah.
when they're cooked, I can chew them. Like if they're in
Hmm.
pasta, I can do that. But that's my only thing that holds me back. Like a cricket that's like the size of my finger, I wouldn't be able to do that if it had a face. Maybe if it was ground up, I don't know. But I'm
Yeah,
happy that people can normalize go back to their way of eating.
yeah, and like I tried, like you said before, I tried like the cricket, like little baggy trick crickets with that big, like they come like in different flavors, like I don't know, like natural flavors and stuff like that. Like it's
Yeah,
like
even
little
chocolate.
baggies,
Yeah.
even chocolate. And I tried them, like they're not that bad. Like they're okay, and they should have that that open. They should eat anything. We live in a world where every day food gets more and more difficult to buy or more expensive, and maybe this is like a cheaper option and whatever. So like, I'm not an avid bug eater, let's be real, but if someone is, like, they should have that right. They should eat whatever bugs they want.
That's a fact. And not for nothing, a lot of us could stand to learn to like them, because about a third of the food that's available to us is it's in danger because of the
Mhm.
butterflies and bees. There's been a huge decline this year. I know the monarchs are really, really struggling this year.
Mhm.
And we're going to have to start getting used to some things that we're not used to. In the United States, I may have even mentioned this before, but I'm fascinated by this time in history where there were plans in the US government to actually try to convince the American public that hippo meat was a sustainable source of meat, because agriculture was suffering. This was like, I think, during the Depression, like right before.
Mhm.
So there was I don't know if there was like a case that supported it, but I'm pretty sure there was like a hippo that was brought over as like some rich guy's pet, and it was thriving in the swamps of Louisiana or something. So they
Oh
were going to
wow.
try to parlay that into, I guess it'd be aquaculture, not agriculture,
Yeah.
because technically they're land animals, but they spend so much time in water. I mean, I don't even know
Mhm.
at that
Yeah.
point, but the plan never came to fruition. But all to say, this is not the first time that our supply has been at risk. And, if right now you're listening here on WMSC Upper Montclair, and you're of the volition of how I opened this story by calling it weird and being like, oh, I could never eat bugs, I would highly suggest reading up on something called Never Say Never.
Mhm.
And
Justin Bieber said it
trying
once.
to, Justin Bieber said it once, and it rings true, because in the next, 5 to 20 years, we're going to see a huge shift. I I don't want to say it's too late, but I think for some climate change things, it's too late.
Yeah,
For certain
yeah,
things, we're going to have to actually make peace with some of the stuff, some of the consequences we're going to be gleaning in the next bit.
yeah. I think the same way. Like, maybe like this, like the world is changing because of past decisions we made, and it's affecting our society, it's affecting the environment and stuff like that. And we're trying, like, we're trying to get some environmental changes going, policies and stuff. But at the same time, like, some of those stuff were too late. Like, we you know we kind of like ruined it a little. But we're trying to make it better and better, and hopefully, we have a beautiful planet Earth.
Yeah, please, folks, let's stop CRAPing where we eat, literally.
Mhm. Yeah.
The bees and the butterflies, they don't have a way to shelter themselves from the sun that is so different from the sun that I grew up with. Like, whoa.
Mhm.
Um, Crazy enough, the ozone was kind of on its way to being repaired. And I think it's even better than it was. But the problem is the world has heated up so much that it's like trapping the heat in.
Mm.
That's how I understood a reading that I did about a month ago, because
Oh
I was
wow.
wondering about the state of the ozone, but apparently there was a period where we were recovering. I'm not really sure how to command a healing of the ozone in a sentence, because it's not like
Mhm.
it's one whole, right? And then it just comes together. It's kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
however it is. But okay, closing thoughts. Let's have a closing thoughts. My closing thought is that I just want to thank WMSC, Annabella, Poland. And I want to thank you guys too for supporting me here, because I've had a really good week in music and just DJing and radio, all around. And
Mhm.
so I think for this week, my closing words are just like, whatever it is that drives you, keep your foot on the gas, because I know I've had a lot of shifts in the past couple weeks, making some executive decisions about my life. And if anyone else listening is in a transitional, I wouldn't even call it being a transitional stage, but the more I think about it, it is, because I am post graduation, right, from this degree.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I guess it is that, but I guess my closing thoughts are just to like stay focused and do that no matter what really, because honestly, it wasn't making a lot of sense. But when things come together, they usually come together all at the same time. And that's
Yeah.
what this week was for me. So I would just want to encourage people to remain on their path. What about you, V?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I have a little quote from the great Bob Marley, which says, "Love the life you live the life you love." So
Hello. I
yeah.
mean, famous last words of this episode, right?
Mhm.
Love it. I hope y'all all have a beautiful day. This has been the Morning Buzz on WMSC Upper Montclair.
Nos
Nos vemos.
vemos. Woo! Let's go.
Hello, listeners.